Okay, we have a lot to go through. I'm gonna try to do as quickly as I can. So we know about the three-eye atlas, the three-eye atlas thing, which I can't seem to find in Stellarium. Okay, so I looked up the other two, and that was kind of interesting. And I know the one of them had like a Hawaiian name. Yeah, that one had a Hawaiian name. I can't pronounce it, but it occurred in 2017. Okay, interesting. Hawaiian name. Let's find out what that word means in Hawaiian. Now, a messenger from afar. I think it said first. Oh, there it is. Literal meaning. First messenger. Reach out for. Got it. But first messenger. First messenger. What are angels? Right. Messengers. So if we go to Revelation, our first angel sounded. This is 8:7. This one occurred 17. First angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth, and a third part of the trees were burned up, and all the green grass was burned up. Now a third is 33%. Okay? There's three of these things, and there's a fourth one coming in. I'm guessing seven are probably going to show up. Don't know for sure. If, it's NASA, go at that. Okay? But what occurred in Hawaii? Well, one of those days, people. There we go. So the Hawaiian fires occurred in 23. When did they occur in 23? What day? August 8th. Okay. Now, I don't think this is the fires we're thinking of. Throw some more in there. I'm going to turn that off. I can't. Okay, so let me flip these around so we can see it. Why can't you cooperate? Why are you being weird? Okay, so this is interesting. This was at 8-8. 8 goes to infinity. It also means new beginnings. You got three planets on the paw of the lion, or Leo, and you have the sun right there in the claw of the crab. I will put a link to what these things mean because I was looking at, what does it mean in the Bible, right? So I'm gonna put this link in here because the crab's very interesting. I know you guys, I know it's Cancer, but they all have origins. Okay, I'm gonna show you some neat stuff here in a little bit. Okay, so what it means is to hold, basically to hold faith. It's really neat when you kind of, it's in Acts 3. That's kind of interesting. Just saying. A lot to it. It even gives you some meanings in other different cultures, but if you're Egyptian, that's going to be coming into play here in a minute. But boy, saw this, the scarab. If you want to be just a little freaked out, go watch the opening of the Collider. They have an outside version and they have an inside version, and they have these things coming down the side. It's interesting how that's connecting, and I don't know what that's got to do with science at all with that ceremony. The one on the inside even worse. Got to explain it to me. Go watch it and try to explain to me how that's scientific. Anywho, I can't even remotely watch it again because I think I burned my eyes out. So you guys can look at this. Again, we're just connecting things together. But then I started thinking of something. The water came from below in the flood. I have a feeling the fire is also going to come from below. So I get it when you think of the Hawaiian fires, but I think this is more human made, where when God does it, it's going to come from below. So it's going to come from volcanoes. That's my guess. Okay, you got rocks hurling sometimes. How that's going to get mixed with blood, I don't know. Or it's going to be hitting a hill is like an ice type thing, and we got a lot. I'll put these links out here. You guys can. We're going to, again. This is all of us helping each other because it's a lot of information about ready to go over. So you have that one, okay, and you have the Stellarium thing. That's interesting. That's an interesting alignment, but this is kind of cool, right? It's like, he's got us. This also goes to Genesis. Okay, and I will put enmity between they and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed, and it shall bruise thy heel, and thou shalt bruise. And thou shalt bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. That's okay. I know what the seeds mean. It's the separation of Lucifer's seed and God's seed. I got it. Which I think we're kind of going through now. I thought that was interesting because it kind of matches up with that, doesn't it? A little bit. Don't know for sure. But I think that's kind of neat. It's like right in the claw there, and we know what the sun represents. I don't know what Venus. Venus, I think, is a pill planet. What does Venus look like? Kind of a pill planet. We know what Mercury. Mercury kind of is a silver color. That's relevant. Okay, so we know obviously Hawaii has potential with some big volcanoes. Okay, So what about the second one? Well, the second one is Russia. Crisis Manager, 1986 Chernobyl disaster. 88. August 8th, 88, 1988, Boris, would that fall into a fire? Now, these are man-made fires. These are not, you get my point. And I understand that it can go either way, right? It's still going to match Scripture. The fire and blood is kind of, I don't know how that's going to look. But yeah, that's what that's. Good grief. So, the first one, technically, if you want to go by whatever they're trying to do, I don't care. I'm looking at what God, okay? I think it's going to be volcanoes, okay? The question is, how do we connect these things? And, because, put it this way, it wasn't man that flooded the earth, right? God flooded the earth. I'm pretty sure he's not going to let man burn the entire earth down. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, that's interesting. Disaster. And, oh, wait. And there was an earthquake. So there's the earthquake. Okay. So that actually occurred. Oh, wait. When did it occur? But I just saw that 88 there and went, wait a minute. So now we're getting some more information. Okay, it was 86. April. Do we want to look at stellarium? Why not? Unlike the other one, not like sticking out in a major way. Now, again, I'm just showing you this stuff. Okay, so let's take a look at back to Revelation. It's an interesting name, you know, and they always like to tell us what they're doing. Just saying. Well, we got the Poseidon thing. By the way, Poseidon is directly connected to Dagon. Okay, so again, everything has origins, and all of it's going to be going. Anything that's not Christ, not Yahweh, is going to Satan. It's that simple. Okay, it's just layered upon layered upon layered, and you got to track it back. Oh, Revelations 8, another 8, a lot of 8s, right? New beginnings. 2. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the second angel sounded, and there was a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and a third part of the sea became blood. So again, got a clue with that first one, right? Messenger. So it's just an interesting thing that they would name it that. Okay, now what's 3-eye? Well, 3-eye Atlas is third eye or third messenger. And again, we won't know what it means until it happens. This also goes to Rome. This is a Greek type, or Rome Greek mythology type thing. Atlas does go back to a fallen angel, I believe. You can connect it back. And there's people who've done that. Hawaii would be, let's go ahead and look at it as a continent. Technically part of the United States. Okay, then you have Russia. Okay, and now you have Rome. So that's where it gets interesting. If these are volcanoes, because the fire is going to come up from underneath, then technically the next hit would be somewhere in Rome, like Italy. Current volcanoes in Italy. Now this was erupted before. This is the one that can actually break in half, from what I understand, and some of it could fall into the ocean. That would literally fit that description perfectly. And a lot of 8-8s. Okay, we're going to get into it. So let me go, because this is going to make a lot more sense after I play the video. Either 3-eye Atlas is a real thing in the way that it's an actual comet, or they think it is, and they're just trying to upplay it, or it isn't there at all, and it's just a big lie, or it's falling into Revelations and potentially could be wormwood. So it's one of those. This is a Truth in a Nutshell. Trey Smith, who's just great at doing this stuff. I love his videos, especially the ones that really get into the symbolism and the ancient world and how that it's just, and you just start seeing it all come together. And as we go through this, you're going to see what I'm saying.
And what was interesting is that there was a huge satanic ritual that was performed on the very spot where Area 51 happened
Really?
by this Jack Parsons, yeah, and in which they had this magical ceremony called Babylon Working, and it was designed by Aleister Crowley, who was a Satanist who called himself the B666.
Yes.
And the purpose of this series of magical ceremonies, which was performed on the spot of Area 51, where it's now located, was to unseal an interdimensional gateway, they said. And so in this, they hoped, would allow other entities known as the, quote, old ones, access to our space-time continuum. And this witness said that...
Okay. We got a big clue there with Crowley. And you guys can look him up if you want. But he drank a certain drink. This is the drink. So the reason this is important, wormwood. So it's interesting that he would refer to himself that way. And again, you can watch videos on him during a very interesting time in the United States. It was around the 1920s revival. This is important too. But he wrote a book called the Book of Law, and there's some other stuff, a particular word that was written on that he was given. I can't remember the word. I will maybe do another video on that if you guys want me to. There's a lot to go through here, but you're starting to see a lot of connections here, right? Okay, and you can go see Area 51 because they have that there, which is a tribute to Osiris. That is a thing. Same thing you see in Washington D.C. Okay, there you go. That's a better view of it. What's also interesting is this is like a fish and an eye right here. Kind of interesting. Anywho, you guys can look that information up. It's an obelisk, right? So we're noticing a pattern. Besides the Exodus, obviously. Again, tracking it back, right? But we got a clue with this. Wormwood. Wasn't that interesting? Huh. 811. And that's important too. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And a third part of the waters became wormwood. And many men died of the waters because it was made bitter. It's a bitter drink. So that's what he drank. That's what he referred to himself as. Plants. It's made out of a plant like wormwood. Usually ice cold. It's a green drink, right? Because this asteroid is doing something different, or this comet. And they got that. Lots going on here. Okay, so let's go. I'm gonna start putting all this together. So all of these comets, these three comets, are coming out of a particular constellation. And the Sagittarius, and that's the bow guy. Okay, keep that in mind as we watch this. This was the museum in Egypt that opened on November 1st. And that actually kind of symbolizes some stuff you see on their hieroglyphs. But I think it's a total of 7 kind of these big bright ones. There it is. I am so sorry. It's not. It's which one? So what's here besides Orion? Yeah, there it is. So that's a constellation. But this is interesting. But oh, it's Orion. Okay. It kind of like a bow, didn't it? Oh, that's why. I don't know what that goes to in scripture. In the Bible, you get the slaying of the young lion. That's why they're using that one. Okay, that makes sense now. Now, what's interesting, again, one of those constellations that almost nothing ever goes into. Oh, we have this. We have a swan event. Just to let you know. There you are. There you is. Okay, that's the constellation they're showing there. And it's important because they keep it on there. But look, the slaying of the young lion. We know what that goes to. We're not stupid. What was I going to say? The other ones are still coming out of Sagittarius. That's the horse and the bow, right? So this was the first. I just don't see anything special going on here. Reflection makes sense because you're going to see some water references, and the top of the building looks like waves. So again, I'm trying to get through this as quickly as possible, but that's the constellation it's pointing to for whatever reason. I don't know. Okay, this is like the 4th time I've tried to do this part of the video because it keeps doing weird stuff. Probably for a reason. Anybody notice this? Anti-sun. So when it goes behind the sun, it's anti-sun. Wouldn't that be behind the sun? But you get my point, right? We know what the sun represents in the Bible. Anywho, what did Jesus say under Mount Hermon in the Temple of Pan? What did he say when he was talking to Peter? Get behind me, Satan. What does the sun represent? There's your Temple of Pan. It's right underneath Mount Hermon. Okay? They did a lot of pretty bad things there. And your Pan star. Is it all starting to make sense? And of course, we're going to have the alien card being played out. Did I get that in here? Well, I'll let her talk.
He said it. Asteroids, against asteroids, we're going to build space-based weapons. So it was funny then. And the funniest one of all was against what he called aliens, extraterrestrials. That would be the final card. And over and over and over during the 4 years that I knew him and was giving his speeches for him, he would bring up that last card. And remember, Carol, the last card is the alien card. We're going to have to build space-based weapons against aliens. And all of it, he said, is a lie.
But,
So why is it a lie? Well, obviously the climate change is falling apart. We're not in the Paris Accord anymore. So now they got to do the alien card, and this is about money and deception. Okay, it's a transfer of wealth. Also, a way to create laws that give them more power, so forth and so on. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully, people don't fall for it, but I don't know. That was a biggie. Big giveaway there. You know, the wormwood. Aleister Crowley drank absinthe. What's an absinthe? Wormwood. You know, what's the Revelations 8, 7 trumpets. One of them is called wormwood. Okay? All right. Have a good one.